Hello, everyone, and welcome to the masterclass on scholarships. My name is Mariam Zabarita. I'm based at IDS as an alumni relations and development manager, but I also happen to be Chevening scholar. So it's very amazing to be hosting this session today. To start off, I would like to ask everyone on the call to maybe put in the chat where you're joining us from. Also, while we wait to more participants to join. It's always great to see our audience is really global, as are our programs. So we can see that a few of you are joining from India, Thailand. Great. So before we start, I just wanted to highlight that this is not an official Chevening event, and everything you'll hear today is our own experiences and perspectives, as all of us on the call today have been on Chevening journey. So we will be just sharing what we've learned along this path. Today I'm joined by a fantastic panel of IDS students and alumni who've been in the same shoes as you are currently now, or you are planning to be. So we have Camila, Barrera, Zora, and Sanknyet, who will share their perspectives and their experiences. And then towards the end, we will have a dedicated time for Q&A, but do feel free to share your questions in the Q&A chat. We'll be collecting them. And we will try to answer all of them towards the end. If we receive a lot of questions, we will share the answers to your questions together with the presentation. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Camila to start sharing her experiences.
Thank you, Mariam. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Camila Schneider, and I'm from Buenos Aires, Argentina. Before starting with the tips, I would like to give you a bit of context. I'm a social worker with a master in urban economics, and now I'm doing a master in governance, development, and public policy. So before applying for Chevening, I spent like several years working for the Buenos Aires city government in different roles, focusing on urban policies and social policies. So I decided to apply for Chevening because I reached the point where I wanted to internationalize my professional profile. And I was looking for global connections and the specialist tools needed to address to urban challenges back from a more diverse and international perspective. Regarding to the interview itself, my first piece of advice is stay calm. It's easy to feel intimidated, but remember that the panel is not there like to trip you or make you fail. Their goal is simply to get to know, understand your vision, and see if your goals align with the Chevening community. If there is like a piece of advice I want to take you today, it's like stop telling the panel what you did and start telling them what you changed because you were there. For example, when I sat down for my interview, I realized that they weren't looking for a list of my daily tasks as the city government. They wanted to see the impact. Instead of saying I managed a social program, I used the SMART methodology and say I redesigned a delivery process that will reduce the wait time for 200 families, ensuring they accessed housing support 30% faster. So always show the before and show the after. That is how you prove that you are a leader who creates real and tangible change. Beyond your personal story, you are going to need to address why the UK. The why to the UK factor is like you must be incredibly clear on why the UK and why Chevening specifically. That's because they are just looking for students. They are looking for like a future leader that join a lifelong community. So think about what the UK academic environment offers you that you can't find elsewhere, and how your network will support your long-term mission. I think that your why the UK should also be about impact. Don't just say the UK has good universities. Tell them how the UK specific framework or connection will help you to change something specific when you return to your country. So I think that that's are the two main points, but also I would like to give you a few practical tips. For example, in terms of presentation, it's a formal interview, so dress professionally, but make sure you feel comfortable so you can stay relaxed. That's the most important thing. In terms of time, don't feel panic if the interview feels fast. They usually last about 20 or 30 minutes, but a short interview doesn't mean a bad result. Then related to the panel, I think that expect them to take a lot of notes. For example, in my case, the panel included a representative of the British Embassy in Argentina and two experts who actually understood my field, urbanism and social policy. They know their stuff, so be ready to talk shop. A tip is like at the end of the interview, they are gonna ask you something. Do you have any? Do you have like many more questions? If you don't have anything to ask, don't ask. Please don't ask things that you can Google. It's like just finish the interview like that. I think that you have to own your story, quantify your impact, and let your visions do the talking for you. So if you are in the interview, you have done the work. Now you have to go and show them that you are like the leader that your country needs. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Camila, for sharing your experience and for practical tips. Now we'll move to Barrera.
Hi everyone, I am Barira. Thank you, Camilla. I think she beautifully started everything. So I am Barira. I did my master's in power participation and social change, the MAP course, and I am from the batch of 2023 to 24. Before Chevening, I was working at the intersection of working with youth, gender, as a gender specialist, as someone within the community. So I was mainly in the development sector and in the NGO space. Um, Before I move on to the practical tips, I would just like to tell how Chevening has mainly shaped my career. So I think more than anything, what Chevening really helps you is how you form this sense of international community, and I would say international family, that you have friends in every part of the world. And this is something that has mainly and is still to date helping me with my career. The friends I made, the people I met, I am still in collaboration with them. We usually conduct these sessions together. We coordinate together. So I think it's a beautiful sense of community to have. And some practical tips that I would want to share, something that has particularly helped me, is I would suggest everybody that before the interview, do go over the Chevening website in detail. Try to pick up a couple of keywords for the leadership and the networking questions mainly. Try to read over the blogs. I think the alumni greatly contribute to the Chevening network. So I think that is something that can greatly help you. Try to pick up very strong keywords like as a leader, how will you initiate something? How will you, come up with something new? Try to use very strong action words like I intend to do this, given the chance, I would want to take this initiative. Try to pick up some networking keywords as well, and do try to show it as a two-way relationship. Don't just show how will you benefit, also try to reflect on how will you as a leader be able to add value. So like what will your cohort gain out of you? So those are roughly some tips, but like otherwise, for the overall 4 to 5 questions, however many they ask you, I would say rather than just jumping into the answer, take 5 to 6 seconds to process and structure your answer mentally. Like, do think what exactly have the panel asked me. So, like mainly the content of your answers will be the same. However, the way you structure it differs depending on how the panel asks you. For example, if it's a networking question or a leadership question, they can ask you, oh, could you tell us how do you portray yourself as a leader, or what leadership qualities do you have? However, at the same time, they can also ask you, could you tell us a little bit about your crisis situation and how did you manage that? So that entirely changes the way you frame your answer and you frame your content. So overall, again, I would reiterate that be confident. If you do make it to the interview round, then definitely be confident, because this is your story that has made it this far, that has gotten you shortlisted. So it's time that you own your story, that you do realize that these are your achievements that you need to be proud of. And again, like the essays, do follow the similar structure of mentioning the situation, the task, the action that you took, what was the result. And one thing that I think differentiates between a good candidate and a great candidate can be something of how well you reflect on your own answers. So do not just say, I did this, also reflect a little bit on how did that change you as a person, or what learning came out of that instance. And lastly, personally, what made me happy after my interview was, like Camilla mentioned as well, that at the end of the interview, they give you one chance to maybe add on something or ask something if you feel it has not been sufficiently reflected in the essays or like overall interview. So that is your one chance to, hit the spot. I think that is something that really made it for me, because I felt like in the essays, I did not really get a chance to reflect on who I was as a person and how my beliefs changed over time. Like I would say, Chevening is also looking for someone who are very reflective and who are open to the beliefs changing. So do make use of that time. If you feel there's something that you would really want to share and you haven't been able to communicate that, do make use of that time and do share it with the panel. So those are some tips from me, and best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much for reflecting very thoughtfully about this process and about your experience. I also wanted to remind everyone who might have joined us a bit late that we are also collecting questions. There could be question in your general question or specifically addressed to one of our panelists based on the experience they've shared. So feel free to pop them in the Q&A function. Dio, I'll move now to you.
Yes, thank you so much for this opportunity. Can you give me a few seconds? I will share my screen. Do you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you. All right, my name is Razaramaru Dieudonné. I'm from Madagascar, and I am a current Chevening scholar at University of Sussex, IDS, to study climate change development and policy. Now I'm going to share my experience about the Chevening last year. It was amazing experience because the first time I applied for Chevening and my first time to win this. But the journey was tough because I remember during the interview period, there was a cyclone in my country. I had to travel to the capital city to do the interview because I choose the in-person interview. So it was amazing and exciting journey. And now I'm going to share some practical tips that you can learn from my experience. So remember, this is not about checking your leadership perfections, but this is opportunity for interviewers to check if you are ready enough to invest in this scholarship. And here are some things you need to know before the Chevening interview. Remember, you are like outstanding candidate. So make sure that you are proud of yourself before you go to the interview. And here are some things you need to remember pre-interview tips. Like you have to celebrate because you've got this and focus on your interview preparation 100%. Don't procrastinate. And you must reread and go through your essay because you might forget some things. So you have to go through the your essay. And the most important tips that I want to give you now is MOOC interview practice. So I remember last year I had like 20 times to do the MOOC interview with my family, my friends, and Chevening alumni. So do that. That might be very helpful. So during the interview period, so drink some water and eat enough food and be punctual, both online or in person. Be punctual and double check your ID, your passport before you go for interview place, and have enough sleep. Practice mindfulness. That's what I did. Don't bring some laptop, for example, or phone may disturb you, and avoid the distractions. So during that day, try to avoid the distractions from people or any situations. And remember, this is about the communication. So be clear what you say and show them you speak with confidence, and be true what you say. Like, don't lie. And I remember my interview was about 40 or 30 minutes. So I was a little bit tired by the end, but I always make sure that I am confident what I am talking about. And listening is really important. Listen to understand, but not listen to reply. Before you go through the answer, make sure you understand the question. If you don't understand, please ask the interviewers to paraphrase the questions, and you make sure that you understand it, and use the body language, like facial expressions, colors, and dress, like the other colleague said, dress to impress, very important. And my last point is ending questions. I really encourage you to prepare for the ending question if possible, because like I did, I had two questions. So this is your opportunity to ask some question to show them you are curious, you are prepared for this interview and this program. If you don't have question, don't worry, but I highly encourage you to go through these questions. And if you miss some important point, this is your chance to add your additional information or any kinds of things you want to let them know. Yeah, thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you very much for sharing your approach and for emphasizing that preparation is important, and also having a mock interview that really helps. So we're going to move now to Zora to share her story.
Thank you so much, Mariam. Hi, everyone. First of all, congratulations to everyone who made it to the interview stage of Chevening. It's already a huge achievement, and you should be very proud of yourself. My name is Zohra Jalal. I recently graduated from IDS, Gender and Development field. Before joining IDS as a Chevening scholar, I was working with the United Nations Development Program. I'm mostly working on the women rights and youth engagement initiatives. So just to build up on what other colleagues said, I think Camila, Barrera, and do already share so many useful tips that you can, of course, consider it while the interview. But I want to go more specific on the four essays, that mainly the questions in the interview will come directly from your essays, because they already read your essay, so they want to make sure that you have written your story by your own instead of someone else. So it's really important that you tell about your examples that you have written in your essays more precisely, and also with details in the interview. So just to start with the leadership, because as Barrera said, leadership and networking essays are very important that you reflect on in the interview. So for the leadership, usually people think of the titles, like if you are a manager of a large company or a big NGO, But for the Chevening interview, it's really important that you show the results, the outcomes, and the impact that you brought in your local community through your leadership role in your community. So it's really important that you mention how your leadership role, either it was a volunteer work to an NGO or a project that you work, for example, for youth engagement in your community, women rights, or any other field that you were working, how your involvement changed or brought a positive change in your community, like how you mobilize people and how that brought a meaningful impact in that society. This is really important that you reflect in the Chevening, and instead of just telling about the role that you're performing in your, for example, in the organization that you are working. For the networking, one of the colleagues also said, but I just want to emphasize on the mutual benefit when you talk about the relationship building or professional network. It's more like about for example, some people are just saying about adding people on LinkedIn, collecting cards, or just attending events or conferences and interacting with people, but that's not the real networking. So you should just mention more about how you can just keep that professional relationship over time, how you strategically maintain relationships with people, with organizations, with anyone that you meet, like in the professional context, and how that help you and the other person or another community meaningfully, or like how it will influence your life and others. This is really important for Chevening to know. For example, I'm giving just a quick example. If you're telling them that you have attended a conference, an international conference, and you represented your country, that's a good thing. So you represented your country, but what will that conference or that representation bring back to your community? What will be the benefit? Or how that, for example, those people will learn from you. So this is very important when you talk about networking, how you keep that throughout, like over time. About the career plan, you should be very clear on this, because most people, they don't have like a clear picture of what they want to do after they graduate or after they finish their achieving journey. So it's very important that you make it very precisely and clear to the panel that what you will do after you finish, and also your plan for the 3 years, 5 years, or your long-term plan. It's good to be ambitious, and you should be, but I think it's also important to be very critical on this, because most people, they just share their ambitious like ideas in the panel for the panel in the interview, but it should be very clear on what you really want after graduation, how this journey will help you to shape your career, for example, after your achieving journey, and also beyond, with the network, with everything with the knowledge that you gain in the UK and all. So you should just link all these things in one, for example, or two example. I think the achieving timing has now decreased. Maybe you will have less time for answering the questions, but in 4 minutes or 5 minutes or 3 minutes that you will have for each questions, try to minimize like the examples. If there is 3 examples in your essays, try to minimize it to 2 or 1, but make it more like details, so they know the impact more, the impact of your examples and also your story. And at the end, about the course and also why the UK, I think everyone will go and talk about the modules, the ranking, which is really good to mention, but also be select some of the like uniqueness that that course or that university, that institute, department, and also that city may have. Maybe you like also the culture, and also the small things about the UK, about the Chevening, and also the specific course that you select. Either it's a location, for example, you like a city of the UK, but you already know about it, maybe about the specific culture that they have, and also this the university that you selected, like in addition to the modules that you select, the ranking, what else made you interested to select that? I have seen that people are joining from different countries around the world in this webinar. So one of the questions that the panel were asking me was like, why the UK, why not other countries, or why this institute, why not other institutes? And I had to be very clear on this. For example, the English language was one of the reasons that I was giving, but also about the ideas, that why I choose ideas. Okay, it's like the modules that I have read, and also the location in Sussex University. So all of those, I just linked it and made it very clear for the panel. For the general interview tips, I think colleagues said it very well, but I just want to say that be confident. Prepare one day before. You don't need to memorize things, but try to tell your story in an interesting way that the audience get attracted by your examples and the work that you have done in your country. Because most of the people, they have lots of experience, they have lots of interesting stories, but they don't know how to shape it in an interesting way for the panel. So it's really important. And I don't know if I have more time. Just, yeah. So that was all from my side, but anyone, if you have any question on the leadership, any specific question that you feel like it hasn't been answered in these points, like tips, you can ask in the chat and we will answer it at the end. And wish you all the best with the interviews. Thank you.
Thank you, Zora. Thank you for sharing some very practical examples from your interview. I think it's always really helpful to see how others answered questions. And now, last but not least, to Sanket.
Yeah, thank you everyone. My co-panelists made my job easier because they cover a lot of things. So adding to them, I'm from India. My name is Sanket Ahir, and I work in India for 10 years. I work with different NGOs and different development sector projects, and mostly I work with the grassroots community across different parts of India, and I also work with the government administration to implement different policies, to work like to advise them, to build capacity building session for them. So these are quite like brief introduction of about my background. Going ahead, I would like to share my experience, like how was my interview. So for Indian student, they organized through the Google Meet. So they share the Google Meet with us, and there were 3 interview panelists, and it lasts for 20 to 25 minutes. And they asked me around 6 to 7 questions. So initially they just introduced themselves. They asked my introduction, like what is about me myself, and they then like right after that they started to ask questions. So as Barrera said that sometimes they didn't ask direct questions, sometimes they rephrase it. For example, for leadership, they asked me what conflicting situation I handle, and the what strategy I used for that. So we need to reframe our answers based on their questions. Then they again ask me about the how I build relationship with different peoples during my professional journey. Then third, they blend 2 sections together. So they ask me how my course align with my short-term and long-term career goal, and they also ask me follow-up question like how was my overall experience with the government system, how I as a consultant I work with them. So they do surprise you, and they surprise me with me like 2 more questions. So they ask me give me example like how you are adopting in new learning environment. So during that question, I just take the 2 minutes for them. I ask them politely, just give me 2 minutes to think about it, and then I answer this question. So sometimes you need to like you don't know, and my other co-panelists say that sometimes take your time. If you feel like you don't have right currently, you don't have any answer, take your time, reflect, and then answer it. And apart from that, they also wanted to know that how we are gonna cope up with the environment, learning, and the weather environment in the UK. So they asked me what excites you and what worries do you have about studying in UK. So I tell them about some health conditions, transition from the grassroots to academic space. And similarly, I also mentioned that I also wanted to visit Scotland to see the Harry Potter places where Harry Potter was filmed. So you also need to think beyond like what you are planning to do apart from this academic journey. Adding to one point, like one of the attendees asked that can we share the other example for the leadership and networking. So I did it. So for leadership, I shared my recent example, like when I was working, I did some good work, I shared with them during the interview. So you can do it, but you need to be very clear about it, why you are sharing to them. Now going forward on the practical points, so be mindful that this year, Chevening has changed its application format, and so interviewer might ask question differently. So be prepared for it. But as per my experience, whatever discussion I had with different Chevening scholar, so say 70 to 80% questions will be around your essay only. So be familiar with your essay, read it, sometime reflect it, what question panelists might ask, what follow-up question they might ask. Second, while answering your leadership, networking, and the networking questions, especially both of these questions, use STAR approach: situation, task, action, results method. So this will help you to structure your answer, and you are able to clearly articulate it. So use STAR approach for question whenever possible. Like Diodone said, do mock interview. It helped me a lot because I also came from non-English background, so it helped me a lot to get confidence and to get familiar with the way I wanted to convey the whole process answers. Finally, focus on your own voice. I think I felt that it's not like the way I want to impress the panel. I think you already impressed it through your essays. Now your job is to show your genuine face, share your genuinity, so show your real voice to them. So focus on this. Now I think I'm on closing note. You already there, so it's very good opportunity to share your journey. And thank you very much. And I wish you luck for everyone. Now I will forward to Mariam for further coordination. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much for summarizing your experience on this journey. And I think we've in the background we've been receiving quite a lot of questions, and I saw that some of them have already been answered. So thank you very much for doing so. But I think we can now move to the Q&A section because I think it's quite interesting for our attendants to get even more concrete answers on some of the questions they've been posting. As I said, we'll try to answer as many questions as we can. However, because we have limited time, we might not be able to answer your question. And if so, we'll take some time to reflect on them and share the answers together with the recording of this seminar. So I'll read a few questions, and then we can have at least one or two panel member respond to them, and then we can move along. So first question that we received is, can you please help give us mock question sample interview questions Chevening will ask? So I think you all mentioned a few questions that you got asked. Maybe you would like to add and more questions. I remember at my interview, they asked me what will be the most difficult thing you will have to deal with in the UK, and I think I said the weather, and then I moved to other things that I thought would be challenging. But it was I was not prepared for that question. I kind of remembered that. But maybe other panelists want to share some other questions that you received that will help in preparation.
I could go. Okay, yes. So one thing that really helped me is I think I spent a lot of time preparing. So I actually looked up a lot of mock interviews on YouTube as well, as my fellow colleagues mentioned that you should also do these. So there are proper 1 hour long videos in which you can see how the person is answering and the person who is asking the questions. So from there, I made a list of 100 questions. The content of these questions were the same. However, the way they portray it, or the way they structured it, that kind of made the difference, and that really helped me articulate my own thoughts in lots of different ways. So I think you can definitely YouTube like Chevening mock interview or Chevening interview tips, and with that you can make a very thorough list of the questions that they will ask. Again, the content will mainly be the same, but the way you structure your answers can really make a difference. For example, with networking, they can ask you how good are you at, maintaining your relationships, or how will your cohort benefit from you. So that will mainly be your networking answer, but the way you structure it and the way you show them that how will you be able to add value will make all the difference, and that will be the main matter for the what the panelists will be asking. So quick advice is spend a lot of time going over it on YouTube and making a whole Google document for yourself.
Right, 100 questions seems a bit daunting, but I think it's very important to be prepared. And I think, well, if you've practiced at least answering 15 questions, probably you won't be taken by surprise by anything that comes afterwards. So I think we're going to move to the next question. This one came from Kanir, and apologies if I will mispronounce any of the names. The question is, at what point did you feel ready to apply for Chevening? Maybe you can walk us through some sort of pre-Chevening thoughts that you had, and how did you feel ready for this? Yes, dear.
Yeah, there's so big questions to ask before you apply for Chevening. From my case, I've been preparing for Chevening since 2021, and I applied for 2025 last year, and I made it. So be clear with yourself, like why you need Chevening, why you need for this scholarship, because so many scholarship out there. Why Chevening? Why Chevening matters to you as a leader. Remember, Chevening scholarship designed for leaders. So that's, I think, the one answer is leadership, right? And another answer is why Chevening? Because the UK, because UK, they have very, very good university like IDS, University of Sussex, that I choose. So I did a lot of research before I applied for Chevening. Imagine 2025, I started the journey, and I did a lot of research. I have a lot of information before I go for this opportunity. And during the interview, I had clear answer why Chevening. And back to the first questions, the career goal, like that align with this program. What is your career plan? Be bold. Be bold. Not very like vague answer. Be bold. For example, myself, I know my career plan. I want to get involved in politics after I complete my master in climate change development and policy. They love that. And after that, leadership, remember, giving back to the community. I want to bring some positive change in my community, right? So these are important things to remember, to know before you apply, even you, before you are going to do the interview. So reflect on your personal journey, reflect on your visions, why this, and how you should able to explain how Chevening can support you, can help you to to achieve these goals and your aspiration. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we have one question that gives our panelists opportunity to demonstrate how would they answer this question that probably might come up in the interview, which goes, how will you contribute to Chevening community? And as now you are part of the community, maybe you can also expand on your current examples of how are you contributing to Chevening community.
Who is going? Okay.
Yeah, you can. So
Okay,
Sanket,
I will try to answer this question. So currently, like this is I think very important question. So what I found here while studying my master, so it's important to a contributing network. So currently, I'm engaging with the different Chevening scholars who are working on the similar issues like me. That's a one way to see that how we can come together and build collaboration to work in the future. That's I think one way you can say that in your interview. I think Barera also wanted to add something. Yeah.
I think Barra, you had your hand up, or maybe.
Yeah. So again, I think doing a little bit of research on the Chevening website will really help you. For example, Chevening keeps having these events. One of the events that I participated in was the Chevening conference, where I got the chance to present my own research. So these are some ways where you can dig deeper into the research and see how will you be able to add value. So maybe you can see, I would love to contribute with my research at this conference. I would want to join this conference, or they keep having these monthly, or like within after every 2 or 3 months, they keep having these community sessions. So maybe you can add something like, I would want to be a part of this, or I would want to co-create something. Like, for example, at my time there, a lot of me and my friends at IDS, we started co-creating these workshops, or like podcasts, or TED Talks as well. So these are just a couple of tips that you could maybe highlight during your interview.
Thank you. Would you like to add anything to this? You had your hand up.
Yes. One thing that I want to add about contributing to the Chevening community, what I did before I came here to Sussex, I already get involved in the community support. Like, I organize free Chevening mentorship program, collaborating with Chevening alumni. So this is something small things, but already means a lot to the community. So help Chevening applicant this year to understand the process. And until now, I help them along the journey to understand the process for interview, if they have questions, how to prepare. So these things that because I already mentioned that during the interview, so I keep my word to help support the future Chevening applicants. That's what I did. And while you are at university, there are so many opportunities you can be part. Like here at Sussex, I'm very active in beyond the academic experience. Like, I share my work and what I do in my country. Then people, students can learn from my work, and then building the potential partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. And then maybe just to add from my side, I think it will be good if you will look up what Chevening community already exists in your country, and then maybe someone and then you could ask them what sort of activities do they have, and then you can share that you've done this research. So this is how you will be further strengthening this community. You can also look up if there are any regional chapters or anything else from the region you're from, so already have some sort of background in this. You can also share some examples if you're part of other scholarship or other type of community, and say that this is what I've done for other communities and this is my experience. So I'm very eager to build on those skills and also be a very active member of Chevening community. So this could be something you can work with. Our next question is about what part of your personal story do you think resonated most strongly with the selection panel? If you had sort of some feeling while you were interviewing that those answers were landing well, if you If you can reflect on that.
So
Yes, thank you.
to add one more thing here. So during the for interview and for essays, so I really focus on my grassroots experience, like the way I work with the rural communities in India, and I also connect that with my future plan. For example, I'm really passionate about the local self-governance and grassroots leadership. So I had little bit experience around that. My course is related to governance and public policy, and in future I also wanted to work with the elected representatives in India. So this narration like help a lot. This common thread help a lot to build your story and to see that like at the end of interview, the panelists also say that you also really seems passionate about the political leadership in India. So that story you can build through your during your interview periods. Yeah, thank you.
You. I think next question came up several times, so it's a recurring one, asking whether responses during your interviews can be built around the examples you gave in your essays, or your examples during the interview should be something else. Maybe the way to approach this. Yes, Camila.
No, I was telling by the chat that you can do both. It's up to you. You have to decide if you want to strong the examples on your essay, or if you want to introduce new examples. For example, in my case, I bring new examples to the interview, but they also ask me about something that was in the essay. So you have to be solid about what you have written, but also if you want, you can bring new things to the interview.
Thank you. Zora, would you like to add?
Yeah, thank you, Mariam. As just to add on what Kamila said, I think you can also say one example from what is not in the essay and one from the essay. For example, for my case, it was two examples in my essay, both from a professional background. But in the interview, I wanted to change it to like more academic. For example, what was my experience in my bachelor, what I did there as a leader, for example, when I was a student, and also my personal leadership. For example, how I changed the perception of my parents and, for example, girls' education at my home. So I just brought one more like example to the interview, one different one. But I also recommend that please give one example from your essays, because it shows that you have written your examples. If you don't share what is on your essays, they thought that this is maybe especially at the age of AI and also some other like reasons. So they may think that you have not written it. So it's better that you mix two example, one that you want to, it's interesting for them, and another from your essays. That will be useful. Yeah.
Thank you, Zora. I think we're continuing the questions around leadership and networking. Specifically, Monica is curious how should you prepare Chevening essays around these two topics, or what was your experience? What sort of examples did you bring in? If you can reflect on those.
I think that about networking, the important part is like you can mention some organizations, people, but the important part is like to show them how you use your network to help you to construct your goals and construct your career plan, and also how you use your network to help others. I think that that's the two main important things, and that you like were building a strong networking and you know how to manage it to do things that you really want to.
Thank you. Zora?
Yes, so for the leadership and networking essays, just that colleagues also said about the STAR method, but to try to emphasize more on the impact and the influence. And don't be afraid, even if your example, for example, your role was very like, you think the title was less, for example, you are a volunteer, but you think that maybe volunteer work is not counted like it's not powerful. Don't think like that. Just see the impact. For example, if you have supported like 10 girls in a local a community to get, for example, education or maybe a language course, and that how impacted those girls and their families by your work. So this is really important. And also just one thing that I saw in the chat is maybe related to this, that for the STAR method, you don't need to be very like make it very like details. Just make use a STAR method, but be very specific. Impact, how your role, how your involvement changed or brought a positive change, how it supported your community. And for the networking, as Camila also said, and I gave an example in my previously. So when you talk about a conference or a networking sessions, also emphasize like how it how it impacted or how it benefited you and the other like people, the other people maybe in the future or in your community. So this is also important that you mention about how it impacts and how it will have influence on other people, not only you, but also the other parties. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. You have your hand up if you would like to add on this.
No, just a quick comment. Focus on answer the question. Don't try to show things that they are not asking. It's like the questions are real clear and directly. So that's really important. Like you don't have to start talking without answer what they are asking. Just that.
Thank you. The next question is about how to balance highlighting your professional achievements you already have with your future goals. Quite tough questions.
Yeah, so do you want to answer it, I think?
No, go ahead.
No. Yeah, so in my case, like I also had like 10 years of experience. So we need to be reflective around it, around it, like what you did in last 10 years and what you do want to do based on that, because it's your capital, and how you're gonna use the 1 year at the UK to capitalize or to like more useful it. So I think it's very internal question. You need to ask critical question to yourself, like what you did, what decision you made, how you wanna use it in a future life, what is your values. So it's very critical question for a person who had a lot of experience. So you need to be critical yourself, and you will find your answer.
You would like to come in?
Yeah, so I want to add something. Like, you have done an amazing work, even in a local scale. Remember that. And you have vision in the future, bigger. So make sure you really know you can see the picture in the future. That is your vision, your career goal. And this master program is just the pathway to get there. And the Chevening scholarship is an opportunity for you to achieve this vision. So remember, your work matters, even it's small in the community, that it counts, right? And leadership network you have done. So past, reflect on the past experience and think about the future clear, and like how you create like a networking in your community. And that is the creation of the network. But the most important is, how do you maintain your impact or your networking? So, academic and professional. I want you to focus on two things: academic in terms of networking. For example, I give them my practical example during the academic experience. I connect with these professors and I use this network to achieve these activities, for example. Yeah, and professional, of course, as you are a leader. So show them your practical example of creating the network, and how will you use it in the future. Show them your capacity of using the network wisely to achieve your long-term goal. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from Alisa, and she's asking if it is better to come in overconfident, because she says she was told that this could come as a red flag.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Sorry. I think that you can present yourself as confident as you can, because sometimes it's like a stressful situation, but not be like the word in English, like showing like you are the best, but be confident about what you want to do and what you have done. That's the confidence that is important for me, like confident in your path, I mean.
Thank you. And another relatively, I think, big follow-up is, are there any common pitfalls applicants should avoid when trying to enroll? Maybe you can name one or two. I think one is probably don't try to solve every problem that you want to solve in, as you see in your future career. I think trying to be very focused and clear about why are you doing this course, why in the UK, why that specific MA, and then what's the impact that's very important, because if you will try to talk about solving everything you want to solve in the future, that might you might lose the audience. They might not be able to follow you because you have very limited time. Gio, would you like to add?
Yes. One thing, don't lie if you are not receive an conditional or conditional offer letter from your university during this interview. Don't worry about that. They asked me that questions. I give them the truth. I didn't receive the conditional or unconditional offer from my universities. So that's okay, because this chevening process is different from university process. But of course, before the June, I think mid-June, you will receive unconditional offer from your chosen university. But during the interview, it's okay to say, I don't receive unconditional or conditional offer from my university. They may ask that question, and they may ask you some questions if you are willing to change or your chosen course. Like my case, I faced different challenges applying the university, because my first choice was in Bristol. The course was no longer available. During the interview, I let them know my course was no longer available. They give me another chance to apply for another course in another university. So give them the truth during the interview. Never lie. Never lie. Be authentic.
Thank you. I think we have time only for one more question, and then we should wrap up. So this is a very specific question. Well, one of our audience members is curious whether it would be prudent to ask a question to the panel members regarding their anxiety, as this will be the first time for them going abroad. And I think just to build on what you were saying, be honest and maybe try to present it as while you might be, this is very daunting, still you would like to do this for the reasons that you've expanded on in your essays and so on and so forth. But maybe others would like to give more different advice. Should they mention this during the interview?
I mean, you can for sure mention it, but maybe just portray it in such a way that you're open to challenging environments, how you think you can adapt as well, how you're open to learning more about different cultures, meeting new people. So maybe use that weakness or that vulnerability as a strength, and it all depends on how you portray yourself, how you structure your answer. Again, I would say that own your story, be very confident about your story, sound very passionate, and just sound like you're open to new experiences in life. But at the same time, you're scared, which is obviously very human of everybody.
Well, thank you. I think we are right at 1 hour time. We have way more questions to go through, and I think we could continue for several hours, but unfortunately we'll have to end it here. It's been amazing to be chairing this panel. I'm sure, I hope you've heard some of the answers to your questions, and maybe you got some sort of validation or feedback that helps shaping your preparation process. I would like to thank all the panel members for being here, for sharing their experiences, for giving you guidance and advices. And I would like to wish you all the very best and best of luck in your interviews. You've made it so far. This is amazing. Congratulations again. And I hope the interviews will be a really good experience for everyone. As I said, we'll be circulating the recording of this session, and we'll also share the Q&A. And I hope you will find answers to the questions that we didn't have time to delve into during the session. Thank you all, and have a nice rest of the day. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.